Awesome, man.
One take. Oh no, we go one take up in this. There's no.
It's a couple times I thought maybe you were like, stop, start again.
Who, Laura? Oh, okay. You know what? I'll always want.
I was like, did I swear by mistake?
No.
Sorry about that.
I like to know.
Hey. Thanks for being in the REC experience. I'm your host, Jas Takhar, with your girl, Laura Stewart.
Hey, what's up?
What up, girl? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
This episode, season 3, episode 16, was really, really inspiring for me to be part of. And I hope it comes across to the listeners and to the viewers. You know, our beautiful Clem, Mr. Videographer, set this up.
Yeah, I guess he'd seen some of our past episodes, given that he records them, and thought this guest would be a perfect fit. And he was. You were two peas in a pod.
I think so. Like we run in the same circles, have a lot of mutual friends, known of Sathish for a very long time because of his huge festival that brings about over 50,000 people to Yonge-Dundas Square, to our out of province and out of country listeners and viewers. That is essentially Toronto's Times Square, and to bring that many people together for a one-day music festival, you know, I get Coachella and all them bring a lot more, but to bring them in Toronto and have
this is a little bit different feeling.
Why do you say that?
Just you know, the whole idea behind it and just getting people together and just celebrating together, Toronto culture was pretty cool.
Local artists, we dove into what makes this music festival different. But I think where the real inspiration is going to come from is what Sathish is up to.
Well, his entrepreneurial spirit is incredible.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything about him really coming into the interview. So I'm just sitting in the back like, whoa, this guy's up to everything.
How many businesses he's been part of, ran, sold, and now like in the halls with this picture of himself in Ryerson because he's teaching entrepreneurs. Just an amazing soul I found this guy was.
Well, this guy seems to just try and find gaps in the marketplace and fill them. And his passion behind it all. He says, you know, you work really hard. Everyone thinks like when you're an entrepreneur, you work hard, you sell your business, and then you can really do whatever you want. And he goes, but I am doing everything I want. He goes, what's really nice about being an entrepreneur and having sold businesses for me is that now it gives me the option to do the things I love. Yeah. And then I go 3,000% into it. So it's not like he's working less, he's working more and just doing bigger and better.
This is going to come out as you guys hear this and watch. You just essentially came back from London. So I'm going to put you on the spot.
I haven't left yet.
You haven't left yet. But
okay.
What are you excited about your London trip?
Okay, what am I excited about? Well, besides having my phone off a little bit, I hope.
Yes.
I'm excited for the food. I got to be honest. So last time I went to London, I was 22, backpacking Europe.
Did you go with your husband at that time?
No, I went with some girlfriends of mine, and we didn't have a ton of money to spend frivolously. So you kind of went to the grocery store and bought bread and cheese, which was amazing, and would eat on like a stoop if you found one. So this time I'm excited to try some of the really good cuisine they have. I'm actually really pumped to try a good Indian spot.
Awesome. Yeah. How long are you guys going for again?
Just 5 days.
Cool.
Quick
Jump
little, over the pond.
In and out.
In and out.
Yeah. Well, have a safe trip.
Thank you.
And shout out to Clem again for putting myself and Sathish in this episode together. Shout out to a good fan, listener of ours, and an amazing friend of mine, Rocky. Our boy Rocky.
He's everyone's boy.
Yeah, he really is. And to you, the viewers and the listeners, as always, the support is overwhelming. And thank you so much for all the feedback. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do so now. And if you're listening, just subscribe to whatever platform, iTunes, Spotify, whatever it is, whatever podcast platform you're listening on. We would love a review, 5 preferably, but even a 1 or 2 is cool.
But 5.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Alto, as always, thank you.
You bet.
And take care.
Enjoy.
REC Experience presents Real Estate, Entrepreneurship, Leadership with your host, Jas Takhar. The REC Experience podcast is now on air.
I was like, yo, I have this idea for this concept called Daisy Fest. All the communities from across Canada, across the world could come together in the heart of the city. And for one day, don't divide ourselves by the labels we give ourselves, but put together our hands in the enjoyment of music.
12 hours, non-stop, free music. It's truly Canadian, and it's represented the multitude of talent that we have across the country.
There's a lot of passion. The artists that we put on our stage are waking up and eating and sleeping and dreaming this music.
Some of my favorite excitement and content comes from when I get an opportunity to sit down with a local entrepreneur, business person, people in leadership roles, from a local perspective. Why? Because I'm obviously born and raised in Toronto, and to see other people around me that are doing similar things as myself and my team are, it's just so inspiring to see. I'm going to introduce my boy to the left of me, obviously on your screen if you're watching on YouTube or any of our other platforms to the right. His name is Sathish. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good. This is great setup.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Most people that say, hey, come for a podcast, it's like headphones and like little ghetto Amazon stuff that, you kind of speaking real loud into it to make sense. But this is a great setup.
I really appreciate. Well, you do a lot of this, so you know what? Coming from you, it means a lot, man. I really, really appreciate that.
Literally, I haven't seen this many cameras in one room.
I know.
And lighting, like respect.
Okay.
People don't invest in lighting.
Okay, so first and foremost, I know our beautiful Clem is going to be so happy you made mention of that, because he's always on my case. I need more lighting, Jas. I need better lighting. So now I know he has another feather in his cap. But talking about cameras, you brought some cool gizmos here. Talk to me about this.
This is not the sponsored show.
Okay.
But if DJ Osmo Pocket likes it, I could use another one. One of my kids are going to break it for sure. But this is a brand new DJI Osmo Pocket. It's a 4K camera. It's got a gimbal, so it's a stabilizer
camera
built in. I can run with this. I can vlog with it. It's crazy, man. And it's an external memory card, so you literally unplug, put into a camera.
What does something like this go for?
This is about 400.
Okay.
And then it's got everything in it. It's got facial recognition. It's got fixed positioning things. So when I'm vlogging, it just follows
Audio's
me.
pretty good. It
Audio's
picks up
pretty
audio?
decent.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then what do we got over there?
That's a Ricoh 360 camera.
Okay.
And I am really excited about what 360 is going to do.
I just saw a YouTube video of you using this camera.
Yeah.
So talk to our viewers and listeners about this, because it's really cool what I saw.
So, we're now in an era where content creation is it. If whatever you're doing in business, startup, multinational, whatever it is, if you're not creating content to share, the value and the brand is not being built fast enough.
I agree.
But how do you create content that stands out? Because, to afford a camera now is not a big issue. The phones like yours and mine come ready to shoot. And so I started thinking about, well, how does my content stand out? And I do a lot of stuff in music. And,
right.
Most DJs are the same. They have the angle down
right.
or the angle from behind. So I thought, well, why don't I do my DJ segments in a 360 environment?
Right. And do something a little different.
Yeah.
Talk to our viewers and our listeners about who you are, what you do.
Man.
Obviously, I know you're a big tech geek, and I love it because I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
But what do you do, and who are you, man?
Who am I is really interesting, because I think that's one of the most loaded questions possible, because you can't, I'm made up of so many different things.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a DJ. So who am I is really interesting.
Yeah.
What I'm excited about,
I love that.
which is probably a different question to ask, is I'm excited about building businesses that can disrupt industries.
Okay.
I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I went to school for computer science. I didn't want to. I wanted to be a psychologist. Ryerson.
Okay.
But
big difference, man. Computer science, and you wanted to be a psychologist.
I did, and then my parents were like, "No."
Okay.
You either be an accountant, engineer,
or a doctor,
or not.
Not
I
even?
wasn't smart enough to even get the option. It wasn't like be a doctor, and I said, "Okay, I don't want to.
So your parents know who their son was. I like that.
It wasn't even an option. So I said, okay, man, let me take computers because it was supposed to be fun, games, etc. So I went to first year and I realized I spent the summer playing basketball and DJing, and these kids were in computer camp.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing, like computer camps.
Yeah.
And I literally cried the first night going, what the hell am I doing? I just paid $7,000. I have no idea what these kids are talking about. And then it took me a few years to understand that tech and digital is going to change the world.
Right.
Like never before.
What year are we in now?
This is year 2, year 3. You know, I'm 44.
Okay.
And so we're talking. I'm in my 18, 19-year-old version.
Okay.
And I was like,
I never thought you were 44, man.
hey, it's
No, I'm
there's
not
another
just saying
there's
that.
another camera that makes me look younger.
That's the one. That's why you have that. Continue.
It's so I said, what the hell am I gonna do?
Right.
And around third year or so, there was a job fair that was happening. And I always thought a 50% is a 50% is a degree.
Sure.
Because in university, you have to get 90s to get to university.
Right.
But I figured, if me and you are in the same class,
Yes.
at the end of the 4 years, we'll both get a computer science degree.
Totally agree.
So why should I spend any more time than getting a 51?
Right. I get it.
Same piece of paper.
Yeah, right.
And then my first interview was with a KPMG guy recruiting. He's like, what's your GPA score? And I'm like, why? Why does it matter? Because it was horrible. It was like, I can't even say it. That's how embarrassing it was. And that was the first time I realized that my strategy failed because
So it didn't work out the way that you thought.
Yeah. And
I
so I was like, what the hell do I do? And so that was probably the first time I realized academically, I'm not that strong. Not because I'm a dumb kid. I just don't see any value in what I was learning.
And maybe, just to that point, Sathish, because I feel the same way. Like I actually don't have anything past my high school diploma, and I came to learn that I just didn't really learn in a class setting. It's not the way that my brain comprehended things, right? I needed to learn at my own speed through books and seminars and then tapes and audio CDs and obviously now podcasts. But I feel it's a lot of people like that, right? At that age, it's just it's not that they're not necessarily smart or not. They might not be really like calculus driven or algebra driven, right? But you put them in an entrepreneur class, which we know that doesn't exist. Yeah. But if it did, you would have excelled.
Yeah, without even knowing what that word meant. And so I was really freaked out. And so I started looking at, what else am I naturally good at? And, by that time, all of the first, second year who dropped out have already dropped out. We had a class of 220 kids. And I realized all of them had the same purpose. Graduate and go to work from Microsoft, Accenture, KPMG, sit in a cubicle, 5 years later, get a title, 10 years later, get a job. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. But what if I could figure out how to use my other skill sets? I was a DJ. So what does that mean? Well, I'm comfortable around people. I can organize a party. I could be charismatic. I can rock the crowd. Well, is that translatable in work? I don't know. I don't know what a sales guy was. And so I was like, okay, let me just write that down. And then I looked at, okay, I don't know how to code well, but I know how to solve the problem. And I'm one of those guys where like, I'm people's first phone call. Right. Because I'll have a solution. Sure. Roof falls down, call me. I have a solution.
The people, you're either a connector or you're just solution driven, right?
And 9 out of 10 times the first solution is not good, but I'll give you a solution and then we'll build on it. So I started looking around and internet was starting to happen. This is when like the websites were black and white, horrible looking. Yeah. And so I literally made a geo circle around the university and started going to all these small businesses and said, hey, if you don't know what the internet is, I'm in class. It's going to be big. Let me make you a website.
Interesting.
And then they said, we don't get it. How much is this thing? Right. I was like, well, maybe like $200. I don't know what money was worth. And they said, cool. So all of a sudden, I'm making these horrible websites. And then I was like, I don't want the 200. I need you to not hire anybody else in my class. So then I wouldn't give them an invoice. I would give them a list of the other 219 kids. And if you had a job opening and you considered one of these people, don't. I'm better. But if you hired somebody from another school, another campus, good on them.
Respect for that, man. I like that hustle and grind. I like that.
These 219 people because I'm the best in class. Right. And that was my attitude. So I went to everybody, did work, gave them a thing. Now that I talk about it, I'm glad none of my friends hate me for doing that. But that was my strategy because I can get in front of clients and they had to wait for a recruiter to approach them. and I had to jump on it. And so without really planning, by the time I got into 4th year, I had a very successful business. And we're talking like, pre-2000, right? And, when you're a kid in school and you're making 10, 20, 30K, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's,
beer was $2.50.
I know.
You know what I mean? Beer was $2.50.
And most kids just wanted to get, enough money to buy a 6-pack.
Yeah,
you know
there was no bottle service.
Right. Oh, forget that.
Lineups are $2 to get in. Coach check is 50 cents. It was a whole different world. So
Totally
I was
different.
balling it. That's how I started my entrepreneur spirit, man.
Look, man, you said a magical word that made my ears pop. Attitude. I build my team, everyone that you see here and behind the camera. I'm glad the 360 is here, because even my man Rochester, who tries to hide behind the camera, he's caught in camera now because of the 360, and everyone else. I generally hire on attitude more than skill. Only because I feel that if I have people around me that are going to run through walls for me, the skill we can learn, it's also to me a commodity, in all honesty, because, there's a lot of videographers out there, a lot of graphic designers out there, but I would put my 2 guys, a lot of copywriters, you know what I'm saying? But I would put my team up against anyone because I know what they would do for me. Right? So as you are growing, and I want to get into the intricacies of all the stuff that you're doing, but what's your thoughts on that? Like, what's your thoughts on attitude over skill?
I agree completely, because most of the time, skills are a reflection of your history, right? Like, what did you do to get in front of me? But the world that, you have, the companies that I've created, 50% of the time, we actually don't know what we're doing. We don't,
so true.
right? Like when a client calls me and says, hey, I want to do this really cool augmented reality touchscreen thing, and it's worth $1 million, 50% of the time, we don't know how to build it. The other 50 is having the confidence to dream of a solution. And then if you could dream it, we'll figure it out.
So true.
Right? But
so true.
Your skills don't necessarily give you the ability to dream, because sometimes the skills hurt, because it's like, if you only know how to use a hammer, everything is a nail to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I tend to look for, similar to you, people that are brave enough to imagine something, even if it's the most ridiculous thing that we've ever thought about.
Right.
And then we were willing as a company to lose money on that bet.
Yes.
Where we would lose more than $1 million to make it come true.
Right.
Because the minute we do it, the next time we're making 90% margin on the same thinking.
Because you just you actually took action and did it. Talking about a hammer and a nail. I shot a video a couple of days ago that said that I suck at 99% of things. And it's true. Like, I have a problem hanging up a picture on the wall. It's not who I am. I still type like this, I don't write long emails, but I have a full-time copywriter now. I have someone, I have a handyman that I partnered up with, Jiffy On Demand, a huge company in Toronto, that they send somebody for me to do all that work. Camera, I can take some pictures when I've had some drinks, but now it's all about getting the right people around us in terms of building a team.
And that's something, going back to the education system for a quick second. They don't actually teach you that.
Right.
They teach you the skill to be you, but you don't matter. Especially when you're in a leadership position.
Right.
You are the least important person in the room.
True. So true, man. And I knew, we obviously got connected through the beautiful Clem, and he made mention, and we have mutual friends, and he had made mention that, man, you guys got to hook up. And this is like, Clem's been with us now for 6, 7, 8 months. I forget. It feels like it's been years, but the day that I met him, 2 days in or something, he was like, dude, you got to meet Sathish because you guys are so similar. And I was like, yeah, I've heard of the guy. Like, we'll get around to it, right? So I'm so glad that the timing's right, because your big festival that you put on now, which is, to me, it's the biggest South Asian festival that happens right at Yonge-Dundas Square for our out of province and out of country listeners and viewers. It's the hot spot in Toronto.
It's the Times Square.
It's the Times Square. I love it. How did this all come about, this E-Fest, man? How did it come about?
Like any great idea, you either started from pain or pleasure. In this case, it was just pain. Like, the same attitude I had in university, which is pursuing, my non-academic interests. Music was one of them. But music in the South Asian family is always shunned upon when it becomes more than just Music.
You say South Asian family. Where's family? Back
South
home?
India.
South India.
I was
Okay.
born in South India, but I
Yeah.
grew up in Singapore.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's a mix of like, what the hell does even an Asian mean to me? Because I had a version and then a change and then it changed again, and I was like, I'm just not gonna think about it, But that was the problem. Where once I came to Canada, it was this constant request to put me in a box. Like, you speak Tamil, so you must be Sri Lankan. No, I'm from South India.
Do you speak Tamil?
I do.
Oh, cool.
But,
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize Tamil was an identifier for them.
Yes.
Because I never was exposed
Here
to
in-
Sri Lankans.
in Toronto, yes.
In Singapore.
Right.
So I was like, what do you mean? I speak Tamil.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
not
language.
Tamil.
Yeah.
But you are Tamil because you speak it. I'm so confused. Take me back to Singapore. Like, this is so weird. And then it's like, well, how come you don't know Hindi? Well, how come you don't know Tamil? Like, well, why are we having this? Because let's go play ball.
Why are we talking about? Yeah, I get it.
So it was really ridiculous. And so when I started my agency, Blue Band Digital, because I was one of the few South Asian CEOs in the mainstream world, we're talking about a 50-year-old industry that's driven by mainstream Canadians with very little diversity. That was one of the reasons I started the company, to go, hey, why do I have to be a tech guy behind the scene? Why can't I be a creative director? Why can't I be a CEO and go up against the BBDOs, the John Streets, the big boys? Because I'm brown. And so I remember the first wave of calls we got was like for ethnic marketing. Because I'm brown and I run an agency. I'm like, no. Yeah. Let me run your mainstream program. I can run your digital program. I actually don't know how to do ethnic marketing.
Right.
And that was my answer for the first 3-4 months. And then I had a chance to volunteer for a music festival that was happening at Yonge-Dundas, where they just reached out because they wanted some digital. And I remember they spent all this time and effort to raise money. And then they would pay 90% of that to foreigners, people from India, Pakistan, UK, Africa. And then we got people in the city, in Scarborough, Brampton, Mississauga, that I personally knew they were making great music.
Right.
But we were either too brown for us,
Yes,
or not brown enough.
Right.
So where did we get a chance to shine? And there was this anger that was building up because we didn't have an outlet.
Sure.
And we didn't have the same problems as our parents' generation. They're in survival mode.
100%.
We're in identity crisis.
Yeah,
So I was
I
like,
agree.
what the hell do we do? And so I reached out to these people and I said, hey, I've got artists. If you got budget, do you mind if we book some local talent? And they said, nope. Unless they want to pay, we can't give them the spot.
So unless the local artists pay, that's the only way that they can get on stage,
said,
okay?
They're already suffering.
Yes.
And how much of a slap is it to go, I'll give you 20 minutes, but you got to pay for it?
Right.
And in the context of a 2-3 day festival, 20 minutes means nothing.
Nothing. 100%.
But it was a big deal.
Right.
And we don't want to see urban and we don't want to see. So I was fighting it. And the best thing this lady told me was, she's like, Sathish, you're very passionate. Like, just do it yourself, bro. And I was like, what? And she's like, you know, if you're that passionate about it, you've seen the formula. It's not that difficult. Go raise some money, rent a stage, and do a show. And I was driving home that night pissed off because my ego was bruised.
Sure.
I was like, how dare you just challenge me to do my own shit?
Yeah. And not give me what I wanted.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do a show. I just want 30 minutes of 3 days. And then I was like, well, nothing's ever been given to me. And this is the symptom. But this is also the future we're trying to change. So I said, okay, I'm in marketing. I've got clients. Let's just see and pitch. And so we created this brand called Desi Fest. For people that don't know, Desi simply means people. It doesn't imply culture, religion, gender, but immediately you think Indian.
100%.
Right?
Well, that's what they would call me from the state of Punjab. They'd say I'm Desi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's not the exact translation.
And
it's
Fest
what you
is
said.
just Fest.
Yes.
And so we wanted to create a platform that allowed us to use music to showcase the reality of the culture. Mm-hmm. We're no longer Bollywood only. We're no longer guy meets girl, runs in field, babies pop up.
Hide behind trees in Bollywood. I get it.
We have mental health issues. We have teenage pregnancy issues. We have drug abuse issues. We have domestic violence. We have all of these issues that get buried under this facade of like pretty culture. Yeah. And I wanted to unpack all that shit.
Yeah, I like that.
I also thought if statistics was right and South Asians end up becoming a majority in the country in the next 10 years, how important is it to be inclusive and transparent ASAP? Because if you look at history, a lot of the times the communities and civil wars happen is because one culture was not transparent, the other one had misconceptions, implosion happens and people just create these negative assumptions about each other.
For sure.
But what if we put all of our good and bad out into the world?
Yeah.
Yes, we love curry, and
Yes.
there's a lingering smell. We make beautiful music. We
Yes.
like painting.
Yeah.
Indian family,
Yeah.
Caucasian family, Asian family. We
Yeah.
all care about the same
Same-
family values.
Yes.
Our kids get hurt, we rush to sick kids. Like,
Yeah,
we don't go
yeah.
to an Indian hospital.
No.
So why?
I'd only want to see an Indian doctor. Or,
Exactly,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I just wanted to see if we can unpack this, and then if you're gonna love us, love us for the right reason.
Right.
And if you're gonna hate us,
Yeah.
hate us for the right reason.
Sir.
Because in either way, I have a chance to have a real conversation.
Right.
But if it's mysterious and smoke and mirror, I can't get to you.
Right.
So the AC Fest is really a platform to engage not just South Asians, but this notion of what does multicultural really mean in Canada? Are we really building an inclusive country once you peel the first few layers off? And 12 years later, yes, there's some improvements,
Yes.
but we're still a siloed country.
Yeah, we still have a lot.
Right? Like-
There's a long way to go.
Why is Brampton Punjabi? Why
Yeah.
is Mississauga
Yeah.
Pakistani?
Sunny, yeah.
Why is Scarborough Tamil? Like 12 years later.
Still the same thing. I mean, I've been here, I'm born and raised here, man. And so not much has changed in that
Yeah.
sense, right?
And I think, my parents' generation, they did their best and they brought us here. And that's it. That's all they can do. They're in survival mode.
For sure.
And then it's up to me and my generation in our 40s to build an infrastructure. And then the next generation can't take on my problems. They're not here to build the country. They're
Yeah.
supposed to grow it and
Grow it,
enable it.
for sure.
But what are we giving them? If I just microed into South Asians, and I'm not venting, I'm sharing.
Yeah.
We have one TV channel,
Yeah.
ATN, that you have to pay for. It's
I
not
know.
even free.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a job, you can't afford it. There goes your culture.
Is Omni not around
Right?
anymore?
It's there, but the cultural programming is Bollywood.
Got it.
10% of the content that's supposed to be South Asian
Right.
is imported. It's not even local content,
Right.
right?
Yes, because it's
So-
a lot of stuff from
Yeah.
Bollywood and stuff like that. Yeah.
Not really on radio.
No, not at all.
How many South Asian owned businesses can we name off the top?
Yeah.
So for me, it's about saying, hey, people that are in the ability to change or create opportunities, like this is your chance. Not when you're 60.
Right.
When you're in your 40s.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you hear it just somewhat on a tangent, right, Sathish, where a lot of people say, I'm going to make millions of dollars and then I'm going to give it all away in my 70s and my 80s. And I had somebody say to me, look, that's great, very noble, awesome. But there's a lot that you can do now, and I'm 37. There's a lot that you can do as you're going along, and you don't have to give away all the millions. You don't have to give away money all the time. It's just time.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time with young people. So I sold my agency in 2017.
Okay.
And since then, I've been doing a lot of work in entrepreneurship and helping young people, especially young people from minority backgrounds, just change their narrative.
Right. What do you do that? How do you do that? Like, are you like in schools now? Like,
So
what's up with
I
that?
started working with Ryerson
Okay.
and helped set up an incubator.
Okay.
Focusing on science and science discipline and helping scientists become better entrepreneurs. But in doing so, I was just exposed to entrepreneurs in general.
Right.
And then for the first 6 months or so, I was kind of like, who the hell am I going to share my story to? Because it feels like I'm the next YouTube guy. Hustle, do stuff. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't even know how I got this far, because I just worked really hard.
Just put in the hours. You grinded,
and I was
right?
talking to somebody, and after you sell the company, something magical happens where you're now a success. I'm the same dude from like 3 weeks ago, except I don't got to go to work. Like, nothing has changed.
Right,
But
right.
this definition of success is forced on you, and I was like, I wasn't planning on being successful. I just tried really hard not to fail.
I like that. Well, pain and pleasure, right? Some go really some will take actions based on the pleasure, or some will just go away from pain. I actually don't think either or is right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's what's going to work for you.
And what motivates you to make the decisions you make.
I agree.
Like we tried so hard to make sure at least like 5,000 people will come to the square.
Right.
And we worked our asses off, and 50,000 showed up.
That's crazy,
I didn't plan
man.
on 50,000.
That's nuts.
I wanted to build a really cool company where we can challenge the stereotypical thinking of what an agency dude looked like.
Right.
That brown people could be more creative, And the fact that not a lot of first timers are getting an opportunity in the industry.
When you say first timers, you mean local, like the artists that come to this Fest are
I'm talking about agency now.
Agency, I apologize, okay.
Because so many of the people that wanted to get in, if you're a good developer, if you're a good programmer, if you didn't have 2 to 3 years of experience, you can't get into the industry. So chicken and egg.
Yeah.
So then we made it a philosophy to be the first for as many people as possible. Even if it means I'm going to hire you for 3 months, you now have a line item in your resume.
I love it.
Go. So out of, the hundreds of people I've employed over the last 12 years, 95%, I was the first job in Canada.
Yeah.
Now they're gone to be big art directors and producers, and Clem's a great example. When we first met, he's like, "Hey, I'm back home. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I just need to get in." I'm like, "Cool, come,
just get back."
And then here he is.
I know.
So,
I mean, how we met Clem was funny because you could tell that his work ethic was always instilled in him, because he sent over a resume and then got on the phone and left us a message, very persistent. And he came in, I met with him for 5 minutes. I had my other team members with me. Before we met with them, the team members were like, Jas, okay, so we'll meet with them. Let's meet some of the other applicants, and then we'll make a decision. 5 minutes, I sit down with Clem. I was like, Clem, so can you start today? He leaves to go to the bathroom or something to go get a drink. My team looks at me, they're like, dude, that's not how it works. You're supposed to meet the other applicants and make a decision. I was like, no, not me.
Yeah.
Because I really, I love what you said about the 3 month stuff, right? Because I knew I was going to bring on Clem, and in 3 months, if he didn't work, I was going to say, thanks, Clem, but no thanks, it's not going to work. I like to hire and fire fast. I don't mind, because if it's not a match, it's not a match. My boy Spencer, copywriter, came on, huge kudos to him, because he came on as an intern, an unpaid intern. And he goes, look, Jas, I'm going to work for you for 6 months to a year. You don't have to pay me. Let me show you what I got. And from there, if you like what you see, hire me on. Within 3-4 months, I'm like, Spence, man, I really like what you got. You're full time, And so you talked about hundreds of people in the last 10 to 12 years. How did you scale it? Was it similar to that? I want to know, right? Was it really hiring fast and
in some situations?
Yeah.
In most of the time, I knew that 50% of the time we're gonna help you get to another level.
Right.
But
you had a lot of confidence from that perspective.
100%.
Right?
Because I think, and so then our hiring didn't only focus on skill set, but can we actually coach and train you? Because, to be coached and trained, there's a level of humbleness and empathy you need to have.
To be coachable.
And to say, hey, I don't know stuff. In an industry where everybody wants the best all the time, knowing there's no such thing.
Right.
We learn something today is useless tomorrow in tech.
Yeah.
Same thing with music. You know what I mean? There's a constant evolution that has to be in place. So if you're not an eternal learner, my success is very simple, man. If I like something and I see a problem, I dive into it 100%. Okay. I'm reading, I'm studying. I've got 4 new businesses that I just launched in the last 12 months, and all are non-tech.
Okay.
And I'm literally studying, reading, attending a conference, watching a vlog, doing something to be in it, because I'm going to learn something micro, small, that'll influence my next 2 weeks.
These 4 that you're talking about, and you can share or not share, and we're cool with either way, are they passion projects to you? Are you passionate about them?
I'm passionate about the opportunity to disrupt. Meaning,
got it.
One of my businesses is an internet securities company.
Okay.
And I've got 2 little kids, and I know what online is happening now and how dark it's getting. It's no longer that fun, fuzzy world that we were used to in the beginning. And so, everybody should be taking their internet privacy very seriously, and think about it as you think about your PIN code on your debit card.
Got it. We don't.
Right? Because everything you do online.
Even the PIN code is getting kind of loosey-goosey.
It's incredible.
I forget that people are behind me sometimes, and it's just I punch it and it's done.
It's incredible, man. So I wanted to get into that space to create some disruption, and then really just make it a mission to get as many people protected as possible online. I invested in a fitness company because I realized halfway through my Blue Band days, I had a bit of a tumor scare.
Okay.
And I realized I knew how to work really hard, and the same attitude of not failing, I took it to my personal life, where I'm just going to work really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then there was impact to it. And most of us entrepreneurs, we're not taught that.
Yeah.
We're not taught plan B. I've always told myself, as long as I have a computer, internet, I can just work.
Oh God, I say that to myself all the time. I got rid of my computer though. In that sense, I said if I just have a phone, I'm good to go. Like I'll find even more people and new people. If I have the phone, I'm good to go, right? So I get what you're saying.
Until the tumor operation happened, and then I couldn't go on a computer. And then I was like, what's my plan B? Because we only know one mode, like gas down and go. And so, now I'm working with a company that's producing protein bars with CBD in it to help athletes.
What's CBD?
So cannabis is a hot topic.
Got it.
Cannabis has got THC and CBD.
Yes.
CBD is a non-psychoactive element that's great for your body. It actually heals. It brings down anxiety. Anti-inflammatory, and since taking CBD, I've literally got rid of all the Tylenol, the Advil, the NyQuil, the Neocitrin, things I just needed to get me into a comfort level.
Interesting.
I'm gone. Now it's all natural. It's non-addictive. Right. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to preach this to the world.
And you're mixing this with protein bars.
Protein bars. Because, when athletes and high-performance trainers are working out, literally they have to drink some sort of a alcohol substance to like calm their body down after a crazy workout before they can eat. But now CBD does that for them before and after. It's beautiful. So I'm like, let's take it to the world. And so, I'm at a point in life where I can choose where I want to put my energy.
Right.
And then know that wherever I put my energy is like 3,000%.
I love it.
Right.
How do you juggle the 4 or 5 things that you're up to?
I still sleep 4 hours a day.
Okay.
I've got a fantastic, backbone from my wife. She's believed everything I've said. I remember we're dating 6 months into it. And I'm like, my parents hate me and la la la. But one day I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be on stage. I'm gonna be on TV. She's like, yeah, I believe you. And I was like, really?
I didn't even believe myself.
I just kind of spoke out loud. She's like, I believe you. And I was like, okay. And
thanks,
then
honey.
fast forward 8 years later,
How old are the kids?
6 and he's going to be 6 and 12.
6 and 12.
And she was the first girlfriend I met. We married, like we've been together for 20 something years.
Congratulations.
But she gets to hear the first of everything from me.
Right.
And I have a first of everything every hour. I'm literally like, I'm
You're the
great,
mad scientist, right, in that sense.
And so that support network is super important because I feel like, everything that I've been given, it was at somebody's expense. Like my parents left India to give me a better life. And, all the mentors I've had, the teachers, the education opportunity, it all came at somebody's expense. And, at my age to be in Canada, being recognized for the music that I do, the companies that I've built. It was great. I gave a talk just a few weeks ago, and I was introduced, Sathish Bala, CEO, ex-CEO, smart, and I was standing on stage going, man, I'm 44. 30 years ago when I left Singapore, it was, you're a dumb kid, you won't do anything in life, you're destined for a blue-collar life. Like, it crushed my parents. And my dad and I didn't talk for almost 10 years because somebody else said, your kid's stupid, and then they believed it. And then 30 years later, I'm this other set of labels, which I saw in my head. And so, for me, it's a very interesting, blessed lifestyle.
Did you use that as a chip on your shoulder, man? Like throughout the years, and I don't know if you know it consciously or subconsciously, the fact that you were told that
100%.
30 years ago.
And it wasn't a chip. It was a life hack that I started at 14. Because right before I left Singapore, we had a test when I was 13, and at 13 they separate you into white collar, blue collar.
Okay.
At 13.
Interesting. Crazy.
Right? And my brother's, 12, I'm 13.
Yeah.
We do the test. He gets 90s, I get 40s. And they're like, oh, the first son, blue collar, second one is going to be a doctor or something. And my dad is crushed because the oldest son is his way out. Everything that he couldn't be. And then I'm like, oh, man, I suck. And it wasn't like 1 or 2 courses. The country separates you into a certain lifestyle in Singapore.
Okay.
And so...
Well, literally, if they're doing this test when you're 13 and 14.
And that's it. You're done for the rest of your life. Unless you leave the country. And so up to that age of 13, I actually believed it in my core that I'm this dumb, useless kid that will only get by with my, chops and street smarts. And at some point, this is life. Then I get on a plane, and then I land in Scarborough, and I go to grade 8, and now, like, the teachers are treating me much different. I'm in a much different environment. They're saying other things like, "Oh, you got lots of charisma. Who are you? You're passionate. It's okay if you got a C." I'm like, what?
You didn't even know this existed.
And by 15, I had this like crisis mode of, well, I believed everything they told me because of my parents and my aunts and my mom and my teachers. They're older than me. I believed everything they say because even if I don't believe the 10% that I'm dumb, why would I doubt you? Because everything else is true.
Right.
But then I come here, and then other adults are telling me something totally different.
Right.
And it's in a span of 6 months. So it's not like I've
That's
grown a
quick.
lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I literally got on a plane.
Yeah.
So then everything that I thought I knew was shattered. And then I was like, how do I rebuild now? Who do I believe? What's the process I have to go? Because we didn't have any family here. I didn't have anybody to mentor me. Mm-hmm. So how do you rebuild the process? So for me, from the age of 14 to now, every business failed and successful, every relationship, everything has been this life hack, and I'm still in it. Because, I spent 12 years becoming a CEO in a digital world, making sure people knew I'm a smart tech person. Now I want new labels. I want to be a keynote speaker. I want to be a writer. I want to be a best-selling international author.
Dude, I have no doubt. And like I said,
And I'm doing the same life hack. I'm repurposing, I'm rebuilding, I've got a blueprint that I'm sharing with people. I'm writing my first book.
I love it.
I'm vlogging.
I have no doubt that you're going to do it.
But this is what I talk to people
Right.
about, saying your limitations are there to be broken and rebuilt. And you get to choose which one doesn't work. Just like clothes, at the end of the year, what do? We take the clothes we don't like,
and
donate it, and buy new ones. So I'm teaching people how to do that on a regular level.
I love it because, I say that all the time, where to bring in the new clothes, you first got to get rid of the old ones, right? Get rid of it. It's just belief systems.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we take a lot of our belief systems, positive or negative, throughout our whole lives. And, it has a lot to do with teachers, parents. Unfortunately, I've come to see, and I know you're living the same path in that sense, Sathish, where at some point you kind of just get quiet and you shut out that noise, where it's like, because I know you got that confidence now, right? And at some point that switch went on, where even if somebody came by and said you weren't going to be something, or you couldn't do something, you were going to run through that wall.
Yeah, and actually, I don't even care about the opinions anymore, because
I love it.
The only labels that matter are the ones I tell myself.
Right. What do you tell yourself? I'm curious, because I tell myself a lot of stuff in the morning. Yeah. Like, if people heard the shit I need to tell myself sometimes, just because I got to come here and I got to lead everything here, I need to wake up in the morning in a good state. And so I talk to myself a lot in the morning. It might be in the shower, it might be the drive here. What's some of the stuff you tell yourself? So
the three things I tell myself almost religiously every morning is, anything I do it with passion.
Yeah.
Everything that I do it to help somebody else. And as often as possible, make sure I tell my family how much I love them.
Yeah.
Because
I like all three of those.
Those are the three that my parents never shared, but I learned the first two by watching. And the last is the one that we never are taught. Like, I don't know how to be a dad. I'm learning. I don't even know how to be a good husband, because I'm learning. I know how to be a good human for myself.
Right.
I know how to treat you well and Clem well and everybody else well.
Yeah.
But all these other labels create these responsibilities, and we don't know how to do it. And there's this need to be just great at it from the day you get the title.
Yeah.
I'm like, it'll take me another 80 years to figure out how to be a good dad.
My guys are 5 and 3, man. Trust me. I have no clue what I'm doing.
And so I think for me, it's this constant reminder that, everything about me could be changed if I want it to be changed. And it's okay also to like some things about myself. I am a starter and not a finisher. And that's cool with me, because I don't like finishing something because my attention's not there.
Yeah. You're self-aware, man. That's awesome.
And I don't hate myself for it. I don't beat myself about it, because I know I can start some really cool stuff, and I know how to attract some people. I also know, there's a lot of ways I need to improve just in my mindset, because every now and then that 13-year-old Singapore kid will show up. And I don't have a process to get rid of him. It's just a matter of time. Like, I need to stay in that mode for 3 days.
Right.
Eventually he'll leave and I'll be back.
Yeah.
But at 45, I still don't know how to deal with that kid when he shows up.
I appreciate you sharing that, man, because sometimes it's okay to be down on yourself. You know, I hope people don't live in there for a very long time. And who the heck am I to say if 1 day, 5 days, 3 days, 18 days is long enough? But it's okay to sometimes take an L and take that L. Be self-aware that you can turn it into a W, because I got a lot of the same things in grade 6, grade 7 from teachers, right through even high school. And you take that with you as you're older. Even now, like, it took me a while to get over in front of the camera. I stutter sometimes. I have a lazy eye sometimes. I can't articulate things sometimes. But, you know, once I got over it, like, shoot, I'm Jas, man.
No.
And what you see is what you're gonna get. It felt like a whole, forget one monkey, like the whole family of them got off my shoulders, because now I was like, it's like that scene, I talk about it a lot, in 8 Mile. Yeah. At the end of 8 Mile, Eminem, you know, he does his thing, he says everything negative about himself and drops the mic because the guy has not, the opponent has nothing to say to him, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, you know, as I've realized over the last 3-4 years since the whole tumor thing and all this kind of stuff, that, you know, our number one accountability is to continually become the best version of us. Mm-hmm. And then if we can focus on that every single day, the ripple effect is phenomenal for everybody else we touch, from the Uber driver to your grandkids, because you don't have to try hard now to be somebody they're going to admire. You're just being you at the best. Yeah. But the path to, like, really stripping down yourself and rebuilding the best version consciously, there's no blueprint. There's no. I don't care how many Gary V, Tony Robbins books you read. No, it's not. It's a hard, lifelong process. There's no short pill for it. Yeah, and I think that's
like Matrix, right? That blue magic pill. It just
that's the real process, man. So for me, you know, as we started with this conversation, who am I? Yeah. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I love it.
Because I'm such a multifaceted human being. But in every one of the things I touch, whether it's music, my charity work, my whatever, my purpose is still the same. How can I, through this venture, this relationship, this process, find a better version of me? Yeah. And if I can do that and get to tomorrow, and then the next day, what would life look like? What would I leave behind? Who are the people I impact? And then that's really my focus, man. Because, you know, there's no 2-day guarantee for anybody.
I totally agree. You know, you spoke about the ripple effect, and I knew you were talking about, you know, how you can touch an Uber driver, and that can change his day, can change your day. But it's neat, right? With you and I now, like, same circles, a lot of mutual friends. But first time we sat down and talked, this is definitely not going to be the last time you and I talk. Like, it just, not only from a business perspective, because that's a no-brainer. Like, you and I are on the same paths, and we're going to make a lot of shit happen. I feel it already, because I want to know more about this protein bar. I want to know more about the security. Like, I just want to know more. Yeah. But from a personal level, like, we're connected now, you know? And so it's unfortunate because people just are not willing to meet more people, and you just don't know what's going to come out of just one meeting. Yeah. Like a 10-minute coffee. You can meet the guy that you're going to go into business with and change the world. It starts with a couple of people. Yeah. I'm not trying to be all philosophical about it, but it a lot can happen with just one meeting.
Yeah, and it's I wouldn't, you know, position it as a philosophical thing, because when I mentor some of these kids, like I had somebody today, you know, she's like, I'm passionate, I just don't know how to get customers. I said, what does that mean? Like, I come from a time where we had to have quarters in our pocket. We had pagers. I had to stalk a client to, like, make sure he walked into the office before I showed up. Yeah. You got Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. You got emails. You got systems that tell you how to find their emails. It's crazy. Just do it.
Dude, you can run an ad with somebody who works at Royal LePage and is 32 years old and is a Cowboys fan. You know what I mean?
It's so interesting. So I feel like people need to hear more of this kind of conversation, where no matter how tech the world becomes, the real lessons come from two people talking.
So true, dude.
Not Twitter, not 130, not emojis, just real people
Somebody was sending me
real
poop emojis
stuff.
yesterday. I agree, man. No, like it really is this, and it's why the podcasts exist. Like I obviously sit down with a lot of people from a real estate perspective, but come season 2, a big change happened, and I think it was a blessing in disguise that I got bored of talking about just the regular buying and selling stuff, because you Google all that. We have books for that, all that kind of stuff. It was when we sat down and said, you know what? We're going to talk about what we're really passionate about, entrepreneurship and leadership. And that's when the Satishs came into our life. That's when so many of our other guests came, listeners and viewers came from places that we never expected them to, because it wasn't about self-serving. It wasn't about us and our real estate business. It was about maybe touching, a 16-year-old kid who's going through something in their life, and it's they just hear, damn. Like, I'm not from Singapore, but I'm from, a small little province in India or something, or Russia or whatever, and they hear your story and then they take action.
And what's great is, and I tell the young people all the time, everything I've done is through brute force and life hacking. Like, it's only after I sold the company and I decided to take a year off where I got a chance to summarize. But if I did a quick 30-second review, I'm like, 13-year-old kid, labeled dumb and stupid, comes to Canada, finds the right mentors and the right coaches, and over the last 12 years, I've built dozens of business. I've personally sold over $50 million in new business. Yeah. I've won awards. I've got my face in the halls of Ryerson as an alumni of the year. I barely got 52%. Do you know what I'm saying?
Funny how it works out, right?
Because
you did what you were living your passion.
And that's the secret. It's if you figure out your passion and you get rid of your limits, if I could do it and you could do it, like, everybody can do it. This is not this success or this formula is not made for the elite.
Yes, that's so
I
true.
can't dunk a basketball. I'm not LeBron. But minus those very unique physical characteristics, the kind of success we're talking about that takes somebody from an average life to a dream or above average life, it's a 1% difference.
And you're not talking just about money. And I know you're not. I know that. It's about, what's success, right? In my opinion, and this is just in one man's opinion, it's you living happy every single day. Like, I come here and if I'm not here, other than that little bit of time I get to spend with my wife and my kids, I feel suffocated. Yeah. I truly feel suffocated. I need to be growing something. I don't want to be on vacation. Like, I do a lot of posts on Instagram and it's always trying to inspire some inspiration. And my buddy asked me, he's like, aren't you excited? Because he heard my wife talking about vacation. And my wife's watching and listening. She knows. I said, look, man, vacation seems like work to me, dude. Like, I gotta now, like, pack stuff, and I'm not gonna be in the hustle and bustle. And people around me like, dude, you gotta, take time off. And it's like, I get it, but that's just not who I am. For me, this is time off. This right now, what I'm doing is not work. I had a meeting just before you came in, Sathish. It was a 35, 40-minute meeting with a client talking about them investing into real estate. That wasn't work to me. Yeah. Like, it was like I was having a blast. Like, we were just shooting the breeze.
But that's when everything aligns, right? Yeah. And that's the problem. Most people are not aligned because they're not brave enough to dream about what aligns for them. For me, success always just meant having 100% ownership over my time, because that's the one thing that I can't pay you for. Yeah. Like, I can buy Gucci's, I can do whatever, but I can't pay you for time. And so from an early age, I said, if there's one thing that I want to earn in life for myself is to find a way to get the time I want in my terms. Awesome. I want to hang out here for 3 days and do nothing. I want to do it. If I want to disappear for a month, I want to do it, right, and not at the expense of other stuff.
And if you're grinding and opening 4 or 5 businesses at the same time, you want to do that. That's awesome.
And I think that's the part they don't teach you in school enough, to go, yes, these skills are great. You can get a great job, and nothing's wrong with a job. Yeah, we need people that will work for people. Yes, to make the economy run. Right. But if you're unhappy, something doesn't feel right, you have bigger dreams, that's the person that is suffering, and that's the person that's actually useless to the economy, because you're not happy where you are and you're not doing something to improve yourself. So everybody loses. You lose, your employer loses, your family loses. That's the part that sucks. That's the gray area we got to change.
I totally agree. Talk to me about what you're seeing in music quickly, man. Like you're so in the music business, always been in the music business. Locally, what are you seeing here?
It's exciting, man.
Yeah.
You know, I did an interview with BBC Asia Network, and Canada now is playlisting more artists on BBC Asia Network than ever before.
Shout out to Nav from Rexdale, who just topped the Billboard charts. Drake's obviously Drake, but there's so many, right?
And when you get to the local levels,
yes.
right? Like our friend Rocky, All Mixed Up. These guys like
shout out All Mixed Up, Rocky. I know you've been. He's gonna be so upset that you and I are here, and I didn't tell him yet because I wanted to surprise him. But shout out to Rocky.
If he was here, we can't talk. He's got the best stories, and so you and I would be just listening.
Which is so true.
But that's what I've noticed. Where Canada and Canadian sound now, it's not American, it's not Indian. We have our own sound. Like and for me that's exciting. And we're now at a point where after 12, 13 years, other artists from other countries call to come to the AC Fest. We no longer go out there looking for people. Right. They call and they're like, "Hey, I'm doing a tour. It happens to be at the same time.
Let me get on."
How funny! Okay.
Tables have turned a little bit,
and that's great because one of the things that I hated about what Canada was doing is to be successful as a musician, you needed to leave.
Yes.
You have to go to India, UK, somewhere else.
Yeah.
But now the problem is not solved, but we're starting to solve it. And I think part of my personal passion over the next 6 years is now to look at how can we create those missing infrastructures. Why do we not have 10 TV channels? Why do we not have multiple radio stations? Why can't I listen to Punjabi music on a mainstream radio at 4 p.m. on The Gardener? Why do I have to wait till 2 a.m.?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and even down to things like, why is there an ethnic aisle in Sobeys?
Yeah.
Like, why don't we have the products mixed in with...
It's all together.
Like,
I get it.
We talk about being exclusive and inclusive.
Sure.
Here's an idea where, like, if you're an ethnic person, you go to this aisle because we put your stuff here.
Yeah, it's true. Even Chalo Fresco now,
and
right?
And you can't say it's because it's easier to find.
Right.
Shit, there's another 1,000 SKUs that I'm still looking for and I'm lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm
it's
saying?
actually made it more complicated.
Yeah,
it's
and so for
true.
me, it's, over the next 6 to 10 years, if I can take the platform, whatever clout I've earned, the ability to use my voice to have these conversations.
Yeah.
If we can look at, well, how can we truly become multicultural in an inclusive way? We can pull the layers off.
Yeah.
And everybody celebrates Diwali, not just the Hindu kid. Everybody celebrates Eid, not just the Muslim kid. That, I think, for me, is the Canada that I want in the next 6 years.
Look, man.
And with that, I'm announcing my nomination. I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Kidding.
I love it. You know French yet or no? Do you know French? That's it. You have a problem right now.
But we don't need to know French to help the country. That's
true,
my whole
agree.
point.
I agree with you, buddy. I'm so glad you came to share your voice. This is something that we will definitely do again. In which medium we'll figure all that stuff out,
blast,
man.
Shout out to beautiful Clem. I have to say beautiful now?
Yeah, you have to. It's BC, man. BC. Obviously, a big shout out to you, Clem, for setting this up to the listeners. Tell them really quickly, because this is going to air before this EFest. Dates, how do they get there? What's the story? Your social handles, all that.
I'm big on Instagram, so follow me at Instagram, SatsB. The AC Fest is happening June 8th. It's the largest outdoor South Asian music festival in the country, 13 years strong. It's a Saturday. It's free, so don't please call for tickets. It's 100% free.
Yes.
There's food. If you got kids, bring them for kids activation. There's 28 bands, 12 hours of nonstop music, and it's a great chance to experience true multicultural inclusive programming. And I'll guarantee it, when people show up and they hang out there more than 3 hours, their stereotypical bias that's there subconsciously gets busted like that.
I love it.
And
I've been, man.
And then you go Sunday morning, you're like, okay, what is the world like today?
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you
Sathish,
for having me.
Thank you so much for coming, man. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Take care, guys.
This has been the REC Experience Podcast with Jas Takhar, an REC Canada production.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the REC Experience. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Click here to watch and experience more videos from REC.